Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
Welcome back to Chin Music, our baseball show at TalkNorth.com. Best way to listen to this show or any of our many shows at TalkNorth.com. Subscribe to your favorite podcast app. This time of year, you might want to check out the John Krasinski Show on the Wolves, Russo and LaPanta on Worst Seats in the House on the Wild, Kevin Gorg on hockey, tons of football stuff, Don Mitchell's show, Mark Rosen's show. Check it all out. We do appreciate it. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios, and we're presented to you by OnX Maps. We'll tell you about them and our other sponsors later. Now, we're talking here on Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, Joe Ryan is supposed to throw a bullpen. But so we don't know what's going to happen during that bullpen. But the fact that Joe Ryan is throwing a bullpen on Wednesday, instead of going on the injured list and maybe undergoing surgery, which is what everybody feared a few days ago, is this a rare instance of good luck striking the Minnesota Twins, Lavelle?
It could be. Let's see how the bullpen goes and see how long it takes for Joe to get back on the mound. And maybe we need to give Joe some credit here because he felt a twinge in his elbow, decided not to try to keep pitching in that game, and immediately alerted someone. Because usually when you hear someone's got an elbow tweak or something's going on in the forearm, that's a month. You're off for a month because you end up on the injured list, and then you have to get ramped up, and it takes about 3 or 4 weeks to get back on the mound. Maybe Ryan felt something and it was just kind of a false alarm, but that's a good thing because that's a player. It's weird because, players want to be tough and act like they're indestructible, but, sometimes stubbornness gets in the way and they play through things they shouldn't be playing through and they make things worse. Maybe this was rather prescient on Ryan's part to alert someone when he didn't feel right. So, and that allows him to get back on the mound quickly. That helps everyone. That helps the Twins because they still want to win games. It helps Ryan because he's pitching like one of the better pitchers in the game, and everybody could move forward that way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna give pitchers a pass. I think on arm twinges, I think players ought to play. I think, guys that are important to the ball club, they get a tweak here and there. They got to play for the most part. I think too often now, players are babied about stuff. I got a little twinge and okay, and you're out for 2 weeks till we make sure everything's perfect. But I don't like that, but I'm going to give the pitchers a pass a bit about their arms. You feel a twinge in your elbow, get out. Figure out what it is right now. I agree with Lavelle on the timing of it. You get in today's game, you get a twinge in your elbow. Most of the time, it's a UCL. It's the Tommy John surgery, and you just don't take any chances with that. I feel the same about a shoulder. You feel something in your shoulder. It's okay to take a week and figure it out, rather than take 2 months and then figure out you need surgery or whatever. I applaud Joe as well. I think just don't take any chances with your elbow. No, well said.
Exactly. Think about pitchers today too. It's inevitable they're going to get injured. I mean, it is. I mean, what are the chances you're going to have a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball go through a career without landing on a DL a few times? It's going to happen. I don't want to say it's inevitable, but it's inevitable that it's just going to happen. The way pitchers are built today, max effort, super velocity. Let's go to drive line and try to max out our ability, and it catches up with all of them. I'm going on a tangent here, but it's hilarious how, owners will still sign these guys to 8 years for $40 million a year, knowing those last 2 or 3 years are going to be broken down and it's just going to be wasting money. But, that's the way the game is played today. That's how owners pay their players, and that's why pitchers go through all this. Because even if they do break down at the end of their careers, they've already made like $35 million a year for like 8 years. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox.
I actually hear Lavelle thumping his desk as he's talking.
You've heard the old saying, he's pounding the table on this issue.
He is.
Yeah, well, Lavelle is literally doing that.
There's always some owner that is stupid that's going to pay like a 32-year-old pitcher who's already had a Tommy John and a shoulder injury, 6 years at $40 million to make 28 starts and be broken down a couple times. It just maddens me.
Which is why the Twins, of all the things we can complain about with the Twins over the last couple of years, that's why they went out and got a bunch of young pitchers, but you got to have a lot of them because half of them are going to either fail or break down.
You know, the Rays, Tampa Bay I still think they have the unofficial rule where they won't sign a pitcher to a multi-year contract once they get to 30, right? I think they still, because they did that with Shields and they did that with David Price, they did that with all those guys back in the day. I think they still quietly still have that go by that rule. So, which in the long run, you're thinking, well, maybe it's not that bad.
I think it's a good rule to live by if you're a big league exec.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's. We do have some concerns about the Twins team we will be getting to shortly, but let's continue with the good news. Taj and Buck. Buck, 6 homers in his last 8 games, as we talk here on Wednesday morning. This is what we're always waiting for. What he did last year, what he's doing this year. And this is why everybody just had the knee-jerk reaction, the Twitter, the anger Twitter people. Oh, just get rid of him. Oh, you can never trust this guy. How would you feel right now if Buck was doing this for the Detroit Tigers or the New York Yankees or the Los Angeles Dodgers? You have to, when you have talent, you have to take every opportunity to let that talent play. And Buck is making all the patience pay off right now. Yeah,
it's really true. You just you stick with talent and understand that and understand how the talent works. Buck is a streaky hitter, and the streaks are not going to, the down streaks are not going to be fun, and you just let him play defense through those down streaks, and then wait till he carries you for 2 weeks in the next hot streak that he has. That swing, his approach, everything, his whole approach at the plate is going to lead to streakiness. It just is. That swing is not a Luke Keeschel type of swing. It's not a Joe Mauer swing. It's not anything. There's no widen your stance and choke up with 2 strikes. There's none of that going on. Buck is Buck, and he's going to try to hit the ball hard to left field. And when his timing's right and when he's on, it's remarkable. When his timing is off, you look at that and say, oh my gosh, Buck, with all that talent, hit the ball to right center once in a while. I just shake my head about it. But this is what you get at the end of the day. Through all the streaks, is probably an all-star appearance and 30 home runs and 30 steals, and you just go, oh, wasn't that fun?
2 things about Buck is, one, I didn't realize he had not had a hit with runners in scoring position until yesterday against Washington.
Crazy stat.
When he was 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position before he hit that 3-run homer on Tuesday, May 5th, since that's what our newspaper's doing now, against the Washington Nationals. I was totally stunned by that. The other thing is, the Twins should be thanking their lucky stars they have Byron Buxton in their organization. This dude has had multiple reasons and multiple opportunities to say, I'm not sticking around for this. You guys have done me wrong. I'm out of here. From the time they left him down in the minors because they worry about service time, to the time where they misdiagnosed his foot injury when he actually had a broken toe, to going through 3 rebuilds in his watch. He could have just said, I'm fed up with this. I want to go win. I'm out of here. He has been a loyal cat, and he has decided to stay through all this. And now you're getting Buck when he's in the best run of health of his career, and you're seeing why you drafted him so high in the draft several years ago. They should be just thanking their lucky stars that they have this guy.
Lavelle, you bring up a good point. I knew that he was that he hadn't driven any runs with runners in scoring position. I also saw that until that 3-run home run, they've all been solo home runs, I think, and that's kind of that's another indication of what his swing is like, and hopefully he can work through that. Pitchers get a little tougher on him with guys on base, right? And he gets a little anxious and and tries to do a lot with guys on base, and that swing doesn't work that way, right? And so the one thing about his kind of all or nothing approach is he can get worked on by good stuff with guys on base, and that's the one thing that's a little frustrating. We can live through the streaks, but even in the good streaks, guys get on base, and it's a little tougher for him. And I'm hoping that he kind of works through that this season.
It is strange. This organization is like almost all the great hitters in the history of this organization, including recent vintage, are guys who, when they struggle, or even just as a general approach, believe in hitting it hard up the middle, or maybe, pounding the opposite gap. And Buck is just not that guy. And none of the other guys have rubbed off on him in any way, even Molitor and Morneau and, all the guys who could be resources for him.
Really true. And I actually talked to Molly about it way back when. There was a time early in Buck's career, and Molly was the manager, and they had him start to try to hit the ball to right field a little bit. And I can remember one game he was down in Texas, and he hit a ball, I think, down the right field line, just missed the foul pole. But I mean, it's so easy. Just flip the ball. It would have been a home run, but except for 2 feet. And I talked to Molly the next day. I said, "Man, that looks so good." He just shaking his head. He said, "I know. I just don't think he's going to stay with it." And all these years later, and he's had streaks where he has pounded the ball off the right center field fence, and you look at that and say, "Okay, stay with it, man. Stay with it." But that's just not him. It's not who he is, not what he wants to be. So we're going to take what we get.
No, he's not. And I remember we had this conversation with Buck through the years about he's got this dream of stealing 30 bases in a season. And I'm like, Buck, you don't get on first base enough to steal 30 bases because you don't walk a lot. And when you touch the ball, it's a double, triple, or homer. Yeah. If he wanted to steal 30 bases, that means he would have to just kind of spray the ball around the field a little bit more than he does now. I just don't think that's his jam. When he's backspinning the hell out of those pitches like he is right now, can you blame him? So it's working right now. If that's the guy he wants to be, let him be.
How many did he steal last year?
I was like 25, 26, something like that.
Yeah. So here's a real simple solution, Buck. Hit your 30 home runs.
24.
24? Okay. Hit your 30 home runs, steal second 24 times, and steal third 6 times. Just steal third. Just figure it out.
Yep.
Figure out how to steal third.
Oh, the research and development department's not going to be happy to hear that one.
I guess I should introduce the cast here. Roy Smalley, former Twins star, former Twins broadcaster. Lavelle E. Neal III, Star Tribune columnist and baseball guru and contributor to TalkNorth.com. I'm Jim Suhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com, of course. Check out all the other shows. We do appreciate it. We also want to let you know that we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
When your furnace, air conditioner, or thermostat isn't working right, you need a local team you can trust. Whether your home won't heat up, won't cool down, or your air quality is a concern, your home comfort team at Aquarius Home Services finds the problem fast and fixes it right. And you get $98 off any furnace or AC repair when you book with Aquarius today. Aquarius Home Services. One call, problem solved. Earning the right to be recommended. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com.
And we're presented by Onyx Maps. Stop fishing the same lake because it's the only one you know. Onyx Fish lets you filter lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potential so you can make a smarter call on where to spend your Saturday before you ever hitch up the trailer. The app does the scouting work so you don't have to. Species distribution data, proven fishing areas, historical survey data from state DNRs. Onyx Fish aggregates all of it into one place so you're not piecing together 3-year-old forum posts to figure out where to go. It's $34.99 for the year, less than a spool of good braid. Download Onyx Fish on the App Store or go to onyxmaps.com/fish and fish smarter this season. All right, let's get to Taj Bradley. Not many things could have happened that would make you feel better about the future than Taj Bradley just stepping in and being phenomenal.
No, And the fact he's added that splitter now to go with his repertoire, it really gives hitters something else to think about. The arm is just live. He's got his pitch is just move, man. And he could throw 98? Did he touch 99 earlier this year or something
He
like
did.
that? Man, this arm is just he's just dripping with talent. He's got bags of skill, and I still can't. I mean, the trade deadline last year was such a nauseating, traumatic time for Twins fans. But the Twins traded a relief pitcher for a starter who had 30, 40 starts in Major League Baseball. In the long run, you make that trade all the time. As much as as good as Griffin Jax was, they got this kid who's got a great arm, and they've tweaked a couple things. He's added a pitch, and I said it here 3 weeks ago, and I'm going to repeat it. Taj Bradley stuff, he's the type of guy who one day, when he's got command of all those pitches, he's going to throw in a hitter. I'm going to say it now. He's throwing in a hitter before his career's over. You could book it. I know, that means he has to go 9 innings, which is rare in today's game, but I think Bradley's has a no-hitter in him.
Roy, he's pounding his desk again, Roy.
Sorry.
I'd take a no-hitter for 6.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, listen, you're right about his arm. It's an easy, comfortable 96 all day long, 98 when he wants to. And so you start there and you say, okay, we got something to work with. You got anything else? Pretty good cutter. I hate the cutter pitch. Generally speaking, I hate it because a lot of times, and it happened in the first inning last night, you throw a batting practice fastball with your cutter that stays over the middle of the plate, and the guy hits a double and leads to a first inning run. Now, I will say, Taj Bradley's stuff and his internal makeup got him out of that first inning with only 1 run. Great. It was kind of like ball game over there when that first inning turned into just 1 run. Then with that stuff is like against that lineup, the Twins are going to win that game if they could score more than a run or two, because that's easy 96, 97. That splitter that he's developed is a good pitch. It's a get left-handers out pitch that he needs, and the breaking ball and cutter and fastball to right-handers, excellent. This guy he's the real deal. I mean, it really was going to be a question of command and internal makeup, and so far, what we've seen is it looks to me like he's the kind of kid that says, "Man, I've got pretty good stuff. I'm just going to throw it in there." Yeah, and you'll love to see that with that mindset with a guy he's not fooling around, he's not fiddling around, he's not nibbling. He has an idea of where he wants to throw the ball, but he's not overly concerned about it. He says, "Yeah, I want to throw this on the inside part or the outside part or a little high in the strike zone in it." So I'm trying to shoot it there, but if I miss, so what? It's pretty good stuff. So I great to watch a guy like that pitch.
If you are throwing an above-average major league fastball, why in the hell do you need to throw a cut fastball?
I don't even. Austin, you want me to start pounding the table too? I can pound that table as good as anybody.
I always said when I think about cutters, I think about Rick Reed, who threw like 89, and he needed to throw a cutter. These guys with velo, I don't even know how to mess with that. And there's some people who believe that throwing a cutter affects how you throw your four-seamer. So I would not even touch that pitch.
No, I could not agree more. I don't know why you need it. It's just so. Here's the thing. Let's look at it this way. You throw in an easy 96. You're a little worried about guys getting on your fastball. You got 98. Okay, I mean, so go to the 98 if you're a little concerned on one particular pitch or that, because the chance of them hitting a mistake 90, 97, 98 in the middle of the plate are way lower than I miss with a cutter in the middle of the plate. That ball's going a long ways. I mean, it just is. And I've just seen it too many times. And I can't tell you how many pitchers the Twins have had over the years. And my buddy Timmy Laudner and I would just pimp him all the time. He'd think I was serious, which I was, but I just wanted to hear him. You got some guy would throw a cutter. He'd be cruising on and throw a cutter, and the opposing hitter would rack a double off the wall somewhere and 2 runs to score. And I turn to Timmy. I say, "Hey, Timmy, what do you think of that cutter?" And Timmy, he'd go, "They could take that cutter and they could stick it right where the sun don't shine," and it would be an everyday occurrence with Timmy and me. But he's absolutely right. I mean, and you're right, Lavelle. You got the stuff that Todd Grelly's got. It's fastball split it's move the fastball around to left-handers and throw a splitter to strike them out if this fastball hasn't done it. And it's fastball, breaking ball, occasional split to right-handers. Have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and knowing Timmy, he would not say stick it where the sun don't shine. He would say something a little more colorful than that.
On occasion, yes.
Yes. Good stuff. I want to get to a couple more positives, but also a couple of negatives we want to talk about. We will get to our Booze and Blues segment at the end of the show. We do want to thank Minnesota Masonic Charities.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz.
And here's Talk North star John Krasinski for True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute in Bloomington is the place to go for your vision correction needs. Go to truevision.com, set up a free consultation, go on into the folks at True Vision and just enjoy the hospitality and enjoy the education that you get in terms of the options that you have for vision correction. I had LASIK surgery at True Vision almost 2 years ago. It was an incredible experience. They bring you in. You're in and out of there very quickly, and within hours, you're seeing as clearly as I've ever seen. I have no need for the hassles of glasses and contacts anymore, and just life is smoother, life is easier since I went to True Vision. So go to truevision.com and set up your consultation, and then go through the motions. And by the end of it, when you come out of there, you will be saying, I should have done this 10 years ago, just like I did. True Vision, truevision.com.
And if you know of a business that wants to advertise with us, you can reach our Vice President of Business Development, Tammy Henderson, at thenderson@talknorth.com. So let's get to the negatives. Royce Lewis looks lost. Matt Wallner looks kind of hopeless at the moment. And I don't know if anybody in AAA is really banging down the door to come up here. We also know that even guys who perform well at AAA don't necessarily immediately perform well in the majors. So they're kind of stuck here. Let's start with Lavelle. What do you see happening with Lewis and Wallner? And do they have options left?
I think both have options left. Yeah. I think Wallner's a troubling one because I think that Derek Shelton has started to put him on the bench a little bit more. I believe he's only started with 2 of the last 5 games or something like that. Austin Martin, who should not be in right field, was starting in right field yesterday against the Nationals. Because you got to keep his bat and his on base ability in the lineup. Trevor Larnach, maybe that's the guy we need to talk about going forward here. Larnach has totally stunned me. I had given up on him, and now he's got a over 400 on base percentage. He's drawn walks. He's cut down on the strikeouts. He's made himself a functional starting player in Major League Baseball. So right now, there's no room at the end for Matt Wallner. And I do have some sympathy for him because, you know, he was the one lefty that Shelton would leave in the lineup against left-handers. When the Twins were facing all those lefties at the beginning of the year, he was firing out Wallner against lefties, and that wasn't helping things either. So, but, you know, he's got to own it that, you know, his adjustments aren't working. He's got to figure out a way to hit that ball because that swing has got a lot of power in it, and he's not getting anything out of it. Royce is, I don't know, I'm baffled about Royce. Maybe Roy has a theory on why Royce isn't hitting the ball. I see that swing. He's got bat speed. He had a hand-eye coordination. I can't figure out he's cut down on his leg kick through the years. I don't know. I don't know what's next for him. I'm trying to figure out, is it pitch recognition? Is it strike zone command? Where's it going wrong with Royce? I'm a little bit more baffled with him than what I'm seeing with Wallner.
So I think we're all baffled with Royce a little bit, but as a former hitter, going through, things like this, I've got great empathy for him, because when you go through what he's been through, and if you think about it, I mean, he's been hurt so much that he's never just played, let's say, 80 games right straight through when he was hot and doing all those great things, and just, play 100 games and solidify what you're doing, really understand who you are as a hitter. And he was doing all these things to get hurt, and then he'd do all these things to get hurt, and then he's struggling, and he's trying to find it again, and he's trying to find it with a hitting coach from outside the system, and where is that guy, and how does he work with the hitting coaches here? And you can psychologically get in such a funk that you stand up at the plate, and you're thinking a million things. You're thinking about your mechanics. He's probably thinking mechanics most of all, which is the worst thing you can do up there. When you're trying to, the ball's come up there at 95 or better, and moving and doing all kinds of stuff. You got to think about, how am I going to get the big end of the bat to the ball? And I think last night, his first two at bats were kind of indicative to me of how messed up he is, and then a second about what he could do. So the first at bat, he comes up there with men on base and 2 out. He gets a 3-1 count. He lays off some good some sliders outside, which he doesn't usually do. Gets himself to 3-1, and I'm thinking, okay, let's have some fun now. I mean, sit on that fastball, get it where you want it, and just be carefree. Just drive in, hit the ball hard someplace. The guy throws him a 3-1 changeup, and he hits it, and he just tops it back to the pitcher, for the out. And it's like, your mind is a mess here. You just gave away a huge at bat, an opportunity to really do something, because you were so concerned about pulling your hitting mechanics and how do I get the big end of the bat out on this fastball and all that kind of stuff, and gave away an at bat. And I think that's kind of indicative of the way he's been. Then the next at bat, he comes up with bases loaded and gets the ball out over the plate and hits it really well to right center. Gets a sacrifice fly out of it, but the approach was really good. So I'm thinking, again, back to the idea of hitting the ball in the opposite gap, especially when you're struggling. We talk about this a lot, and I thought, okay, maybe that will, kind of turn a light on for him. And then that was the last we saw of any swing that looked like that. So what that tells me is that he's still got the talent. You flip a ball out the way he did to.
Roy was on such a roll that he lost his train of thought.
I think we lost Roy briefly. While we lost Roy, Lavelle, I think
I got some breaking news, by the way.
Oh, let's hear it.
Ex-Twin news, Roy. Carlos Correa tore a tendon in his ankle. He's having season-ending surgery.
Oh man,
I know. One of the biggest signings in Twins history. Had mixed results while he was here. Went back to Houston. He is the 15th Houston Astro to land on the injured list, by the way. So it's not just the Twins that are getting inundated with injuries. It's going around the league. But it's too bad for Carlos, because, I love watching him play short. I thought he underdelivered a little bit offensively, but he did have a couple solid years with the Twins. And he was here when people were thinking, okay, we're going to change things around, and of course he wasn't able to sustain it. They decided to move the salary back home to Houston, where he still lives, and now this happens to him. It's too bad.
Well, it's really, really too bad. I feel really bad. I really love the kid. I loved watching him play short. I loved his leadership. I loved how he stepped up in the clubhouse and on the field to just say, look, I'm going to be the personality example on the team about how you play the game. I loved everything about him, and I thought I said since the very beginning when he first came, and we talked about him under delivering offensively a little bit, but my point was always, hey, he had some big years with a great lineup in Houston, a lineup in which he hit sixth. He never hit third, never hit fourth, never hit fifth. That wasn't his deal. His deal was play great shortstop and contribute, and all that offense that he contributed. That's because of all those guys he had around him and the role that he played in that lineup. So I thought it was a big ask for him to come and be the offensive savior. I loved his combination of offense and defense.
And it's another example of the Twins trading him at the right time. There were concerns about Carlos's health, certainly concerns about the amount of money he had left at an advanced age for them to be able to trade him to the one team that probably was willing to take on all that. Again, they're going to get an A for their summer sell-off last year at some point. And I wonder when fans will have to recognize that at some point. Now, the new shortstop,
I agree too.
The new shortstop, Brooks Lee. Let's start with Roy on this one. My concern about Brooks last year and at the beginning of this year was too many soft at bats, too many, even when he got hits, often they were just kind of bloops. He's starting to hit the ball hard, consistently, drive the ball. He's taking really good at bats. I feel much better about him today than I did even like 3 weeks ago.
Last year, I think it was the first time that I mentioned this. I might have even talked about it this year, but I don't think so. I think it was last year. And my concern about or my critique with Brooks, it looks like he sees the ball really well. It looks like he has good, solid mechanics. It looks like he knows what he's doing at the plate. And yet he was really tentative. There was never a time in his big league career at bats where I saw him go up there and say, I'm looking fastball. I'm going to hammer the crap out of it, and early in counts or with 2-0. Looked like he was feeling for the ball a lot. And then even when he got in good counts, whether it was a first ball pitch or 1-0 or 2-1 or somebody throwing a tough pitch on the outside corner and he'd swing at it, he went up to the plate looking to me like he thought he had 2 strikes on him right from the start. Every count. And he can hit with 2 strikes. He really can. And I applaud him for that. But don't take 2-strike swings till you get there. Till you get to 2 strikes, right? And last night was a great example. He came up there with guys on base and he got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside part of the plate and just rocketed it. Kept it fair down the right field line. Went up there like he meant to do damage, and he did. And I really think that with Royce, it looks to me like it looks to me that he didn't need a mechanics adjustment. He needed a personality adjustment at the plate. You just go up there and get a little freer, know how good you are, and go to ripping, man. You take charge of the strike zone up there, get balls you want to hit and kill them, because you have a chance with 2 strikes. You do have a chance. You're not done when you get to 2 strikes. So don't worry about whether or not you get there. You'll be fine when you get there. You worry about doing damage before you get to 2 strikes, and that's what it looks like he's doing right now.
Yeah, we get wound up when guys are selected.
Can I pound the table on that?
You can pound the table. I'm just going to eat both drum sets. I'll pull out my guitar and we'll have a good time.
I think we get wound up when these top 10 overall draft picks, don't come to the majors and start raking right away. And, it's about development, and it's not linear with all these guys. I mean, and Brooks is in the middle of proving that right now. I'm looking at his numbers right now. In 2024, OPS is 585, horrible. Last year, OPS 654, better, still not good. This year, 757. Okay, now he's moving into, solid. He's in that solid range now. OPS plus, he's at 108 right now. So these are good things for Brooks. So he's showing he's kind of learning, adjusting, and growing as a player. And you want to see how far it goes. And the tough thing for him is because he's not considered a Carlos Correa defensively, he's got to hit a little bit. He's got to prove his worth with his bat. And he's starting to do that a little bit. So this is encouraging. And you got to see how far this goes. And the thing with him and Lucchio and Royce Lewis too, and Roy alluded to it about when Correa came up with the Houston Astros and was batting 6. When Derek Jeter broke in with the Yankees, he was batting 6. When the Twins have a highly touted offensive prospect come up. He's batting third, fourth,
Yeah, right.
and they're
Right.
right in the fire right away. And they're taking lumps. And look, we got to see how these guys handle baptism by fire, because they can come on the other side better for it because of it.
Yeah, where's Nelson Cruz when you need him?
No kidding.
Yeah.
But how many at bats does Brooks have, Lavelle?
I will tell you in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. He's got 115, 774 for his career.
Yeah. So, we made this point an awful lot. It's 1,200 at bats in the big leagues before you really know. It's 1,200 at bats. He hasn't got 800 yet. So, for him to be at this point, he got to the big leagues pretty quickly through the minor leagues, in today's timeline. He's thrust into a lineup where right away he knew the expectations. They expected him to produce offensively right away, and he's got 750 at bats. So another 500 bats, and he'll know and will know. And speaking of that, Royce Lewis has, I heard last night, has got about 900 at bats. He's got over 1,000 plate appearances with walks, and stuff. But again, Royce isn't there yet. Royce might be a 1,500 at bat guy. Right. But, I talked to, Tom Kelly about it. Tom Kelly has always said 1,200, which I think is about right. Some guys get there in 1,000. Some guys take 1,500 at bats. Right. And so, we're all rushing these guys because there's no Nelson Cruz anymore and Joe Mauer anymore. Right. I mean, that makes a difference. That does make a difference.
And with Royce,
but go ahead.
I'm sorry. With Brooks, he's a switch hitter too, and he's hitting 284 against righties. Lefties has been his issue, and it's up to 244. That's another component we have to look at too. With Brooks is that he's actually hitting right-handers okay. He's been trying to figure out what he needs to do when he's batting right-handed, and maybe he's making progress in that.
Good stuff, gentlemen. Let's do the Booze and Blues segment. I think I'll carry the segment today. You guys can do more research this week for next week. Happy 74th birthday to Nils Lofgren. Not only one of the great rock guitarists of all time, one of the great rock artists of all time, one of the least appreciated rock artists of all time, because he just didn't make it big as a headliner. Now he's in Springsteen's band. He's been in Springsteen's band for about 40 years now, which makes him a newcomer in that band. He was a great young guitarist. He's kind of studied at the feet of Jimi Hendrix and the other greats, did everything he could to be around the greats and learn from them. He started his own band called Grin, where he would do backflips while playing guitar on the on stage, which led to some knee and hip problems. But he was actually a very good basketball player, very athletic, not a big guy. And Neil Young was so impressed by Nils Lofgren that he didn't need a guitarist at the time for Crazy Horse. He hired Nils Lofgren to play keyboards, even though Nils Lofgren was not a keyboard player. Think about that. You're Neil Young. You don't need a guitarist. So you hire a guitarist to play keyboard just because you wanted the guy in your band. Then he goes on to have a solo career. He ends up joining Springsteen's band. Again, he's been with Springsteen for about 40 years now. One of my favorite guitar solos of all time. If you get a chance, go to YouTube, find Youngstown by Springsteen live, not the acoustic solo version, the live full band version, and watch Nils Lofgren play guitar on Youngstown. It is phenomenal. So that's my Booze and Blues contribution for the day.
That's impressive.
Hey, can I just... you reminded me of something that I want to reprise this recommendation I made before, because it was such a lousy recommendation in terms of where, what it is and where you could find it. But there's a John Mayall band song on YouTube. It's called "Have You Heard About My Baby?" So I didn't know the title of it before. It's "Have You Heard About My Baby?" And you go to YouTube, and it's Mayall and his guitarist Whittington, and put Mayall, Whittington, and Clapton. And Clapton played, Buddy Whittington had been, like 10 or 12 years with Mayall Blues Breakers. Clapton started Blues Breakers with Mayall way back when. but he makes this appearance with Whittington and Mayo, and Whittington blows his guitar solo out of the water. I think it was just wonderful. And Clapton is just standing kind of back in the background. You don't even realize he's there until all of a sudden you look and go, oh my God, I think that's Clapton. And then they turn it over to Clapton, and it's just like they're all just kind of shaking their heads. It's one of the best Clapton guitar solos you'll ever hear. So I'm sorry, I recommended this before. I did a lousy job of it. I couldn't remember the name of it. It goes type in those names, but you have to go watch it. You just have to go watch it. Have you heard about my baby?
I'm going to go watch it right now.
Okay. All right.
It's phenomenal.
Great stuff, guys. Always enjoy the conversation. Thank you. We'll talk again next week. The Twins, one big note we could have made that we didn't. Twins aren't out of it. For all the problems they've had, for all the criticism they've taken, and I'm not expressing great optimism that they're going to playoffs or anything like that, but at the moment, they're still kind of in competition here. So let's keep watching this.
They're 2 games out.
They're 2 games out.
If Lavelle would just fix the bullpen, they'd be in great shape.
Lavelle,
Yeah,
go into Derek Shelton's office and pound on his desk about the bullpen.
they're going to Jim Pollard's office. Going to Tom Pollard's office and pounding his head.
Oh, we have a threat. For the record, Lavelle didn't mean that literally. We don't want.
I did not mean that.
We don't want Lavelle arrested while he's doing a podcast. All right.
But the thing is, there's only 3 American League teams over 500 today,
I know.
which is crazy to me. So it's just, I don't know if you would call it parody or what, but it's weird times right now. We're 6 weeks into the season.
Everybody is either severely injured or playing like crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I'm talking about individual players. You go right down, and the players that would carry all these teams to get way out in front of somebody in their division, the players are either injured or they're not hitting or whatever.
Which leads, I wonder, spring training and early season baseball to me doesn't feel the same anymore. They start way too early. They have WBC stuff during spring training. It feels to me like it used to be the emphasis of spring training was, man, we got to be ready on day one. And let's go kick somebody's ass on opening day. And it feels to me like April baseball has become an extension of spring training where everybody's still easing into it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the season is way too long. Yep. I really do. I mean, if they're really worried about injuries, and they're really worried about they're worried about getting people time off so they rest, then shorten the season, have more days off, and don't have the travel schedule so tough. It's the old conflict, isn't it? It's the revenue versus we want the players to be healthy, but here let's start on March 15th for guys' sakes, and just play through until end of November. I mean, it's tough.
We could do a whole separate podcast on solving baseball's problems, and that'd be at the top of the list, because I've always wanted a 154 game schedule.
Yeah,
yes,
if not
or 144.
Yeah. No.
I mean, if they're going to make changes, if they're going to take away you can't shift. You got bigger bases. you got pitcher time clocks. You got radar strike zones, laser strike zones. I mean, you've taken away all of the grand old game. Don't change any of the legacy stuff. I mean, it's all different now, and I'm okay with that. So play a reasonable amount of games. You can change it. The stats will fix themselves. The long-time stats will fix themselves. The Hall of Fame will still welcome guys that played in 140 games instead of 160.
Yep. Lavelle, we will do a fixed baseball podcast at some point, either this season if the Twins are out of it or in the off season. All right. Well, I got to go, so we're going. Thank you so much. Great stuff. I appreciate it. Lavelle, I'll FedEx a drum set to your house.